guys, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about vector versus raster artwork. So a lot of our week one discussions in the level 100 classes have to do with vector versus raster. It's really important to understand the difference between them. But sometimes the best way to understand the difference is to actually do a demo. So with that being said, I am going to open up a vector graphic and we're going to take a look at it in Illustrator. And then I'm also going to open up that same exact vector graphic and we'll take a look at it in Photoshop. That way we can get to understand the difference between vector and raster by looking at the same exact artwork as both a vector piece and a raster piece. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier to understand. So let's go over into Illustrator and Photoshop and we'll take a look at that same graphic. I'll also be sharing each of them in the discussion post. I'll put the vector one up there for you to download and the raster one up there for you to download, so you can download and take a look at it yourself. That should really help to get you to understand the difference between the two files and how they work differently. All right, so let's go in and look. All right, let's take a look at our vector graphic. So this is a image that I drew in Illustrator of my dog, Gohan. And if we go up to our view and we view outline, you can actually see all of the different points that were used. I'm just going to use the black selection tool to select each of the different color blocks that were used to create this graphic. So if I select it, you can see here's the gray color block, here's black, and they're all solid colors that when they come together make this entire image. So this image right now is 24 by 20. And let's say that I wanted to edit the artboard. So let's go to Document Setup and edit the artboard. And maybe I want to make the artboard like, whoops. Let's delete that artboard. That's not what I wanted to do. Grab the edge. So let's say that I wanted to make this artboard way bigger than it was, and then fill the artboard with this image way bigger than it was. If we zoom in, we don't lose any resolution. It still looks nice and crisp and clear. But let's look at this same exact picture in Photoshop. So I imported the picture into Photoshop as pixels. And when we start to zoom in, you know, from a distance, it looks nice and clear. But when we start to zoom in, see how we can see all of the squares of the pixels. Whereas when we zoom in, no matter how close we get, and that's as far as we can zoom in. This is like a minuscule point. There isn't any pixelation happening where there is right here. So what if I want to change the dimensions of this and make it, 6 times larger? Let's go to File. I always forget where I am in each of them. Oh, I'm sorry. Image, canvas size. That's what I need to do. And it's only 16 by 8 here, and you can already see all the pixelation. What if I change it to 36 by 24 and say okay? And now I'm going to go in on this layer, and I'm going to transform and scale it. So let's watch what happens when I start to scale it. Oh, I can already see all of that pixelation. Can you see all that pixelation that was happening? Look at how pixelated it's getting. So that wouldn't print well at all. So this is why, having a vector graphic when you can really helps. And the places that it's going to help are when you have those logos, because logos are constantly going to be used at different sizes. If you have an illustration just like this, you would want to do it in vector. But if you have a photo that you take, you can't use vector for that because it would take so long to recreate a photo to be vector artwork. So you can see the difference between rasterization and vector. And this really comes into play when you are having something printed. So I hope that this helps, and I'm going to show you one more example. So remember how I was just saying if you want to have a piece printed, this is actually printed on metal. So you can see why I would want to use vector artwork for a piece like this. So when it's, zoomed in, nice and crisp and clear, no pixelization.